Good morning, guys. We are in the garden and today we have a harvest that is like 6 months in the making. My hardneck garlic is finally ready to be pulled up. Now, not all of my garlic matured at the same time, and actually not all of my hardneck garlic is even ready to pull up, but I need to grab this. We are scheduled to get rain this afternoon, which doesn't really look like that's gonna happen. I don't believe it. And you don't want to be pulling up wet garlic because you're gonna dry it to cure it anyways. So I'll pull up what's ready right now and then leave the rest in. My softneck garlic is not ready either, so it's not that much of a problem. I also don't want to leave in the ones that are ready too long. As you can see, these lower leaves are pretty much dried up and browning. First 3, in fact. And the reason you want to pull up after some of these lower leaves have dried is because that, well, it indicates that the garlic is ready to be picked, but each of these leaves drying is an outer layer of the skin that is basically falling off and dying. So if you were to wait until the whole plant went brown, then basically all of these cloves would separate and you would have no outer skin to protect it in storage. You do want some of these to dry, about 2 or 3, the lower third or lower fourth of the plant, because that indicates that the bulb is mature. But you don't want the whole plant to die because you don't want these cloves separating. They'll maybe get a fungus, some sort of disease. They may start to rot in the ground. And so this is a good indicator that we're ready to harvest. With this garlic I just pulled up basically as my dividing line. I have 2 types of hardneck garlic here, and then on the end is my silver skin softneck variety, which we are not harvesting today. But right here I have ajo rojo, which is a Creole hardneck variety, and then right here I have a marbled purple stripe variety, which is called Russian red. And as I said before, we won't be harvesting all of these, as you can tell right here. This plant is largely still green. I'll wait until this leaf right here fully dies and possibly this one starts getting brown. But most of the ajo rojo is ready, so that's what we're going to be focusing on today. And when you're harvesting garlic, you're going to want some sort of trowel or something to help you dig out the bulbs. Although you can pull them up like you would pull up a weed, you can do damage to the bulb because they are pretty deep in the ground. And if it helps, you can move back the mulch and dirt and see where that bulb begins to start, and then dig right next to it because you don't want to dig too close and end up damaging the bulb. So now that I know where the bulb is, I'll just stick my trowel down, push it up, and pull a little to help myself. Although this is harder than usual because there's 2 bulbs right next to each other. There. Ooh. So these grew quite close to each other. They're not growing together, but their roots were. I'm likely going to leave these together like this to cure so that I don't damage these bulbs before they're completely cured. And I'm gonna lay the ajo rojo over here and any Russian reds that I pull up over here just so I can differentiate them. I was really excited to try multiple varieties this year, so I want to keep them separate so that I can try them individually and see how they taste and everything like that. So let's get to harvesting the rest of these. I actually think I'm gonna remove a lot of this straw mulch first because I'm digging a lot of dirt and I don't want the straw mixing deep down into the soil. So let's do that. Ooh. They've got a pretty good root systems on there. That's good to see, nice healthy plants. You don't want to completely clean these off, which I'll explain in a minute when we start the curing process. But I do want most of the soil out of these roots because obviously I want it back in the bed. Oh, and there's a little wormy dude. Hi, gay. Oh, there's a couple. Awesome. Alright, so I have finished pulling up the Ajo Rojo Creole variety of garlic, and I have so many. I counted and I have 41 heads of garlic here, and some of them are, you know, well-sized, but then you have a couple of these puny little ones, which I don't mind at all. And I don't remember planting 41 cloves of garlic, but the way some of these grew very close together, I'm wondering if they split or just double germinated. I have no idea. But this is so much garlic, and that was just one variety. I wrestled with myself a little bit because some of these look ready, like this one, and then others don't. But I think I'm just gonna leave them for maybe a couple more days, another week. I really just want to pull them up because I'm excited to see how they look. But it won't hurt. They won't rot or separate or anything within the next week. So I'd rather just leave them, see if the bulbs get any bigger. And not all of them have formed scapes yet. So there's still that step in the process that they could go through. But let's get these garlics curing. Now to cure garlic, you want it in a well-ventilated place out of direct sunlight. You can have filtered sunlight, but I don't really have any trees on my property to, you know, lay out in the grass and cure these outside with. So we are in my garage. And what I have here is this little box that I built a couple months ago. I thought I was gonna make it into a portable chicken coop, but I ended up not doing that. And I just have this hardware cloth on top of it. It will have plenty of airflow both on the top and the bottom. And I actually do keep the garage open most of the day because I'm in and out of here so much, at least until it gets about 100 degrees, and then I start cracking the garage door down halfway. But they should be perfect in here for curing the garlic on that. I actually dry all of my herbs in the garage too. I still have yet to set up an outdoor drying rack under the back porch. That is on the to-do list. But we're just gonna lay this garlic out. Probably do 2 rows here since I have so many. Probably a good idea that I didn't pull up the Russian red as well, because I wouldn't have any room. Now when you're curing garlic, you do not want to take off any of the dirt or these leaves beforehand. I obviously took as much of the soil out of these roots as possible, but I'm not going to wash off any of this dirt on the wrapper. The reason for that is these wrappers are really, really fragile. You can see that white part right there. They just peel off with a touch of your finger, and this wrapper is what keeps the garlic storable for months at a time. So all of that dirt will be brushed off once they've cured, but you need to give it 2 to 3 weeks to completely dry first before you start taking all this dirt off. So here these will stay for about 2 to 3 weeks until the roots completely dry up and the tops die off, and then Because it's a hardneck garlic, that means that this never gets soft. I will not be able to braid these, so you will just cut them off right here and toss them in a bag for storage. Now, hardneck varieties do not store as long as softneck varieties. Softneck varieties are usually what you'll find in stores because they can last up to a year in storage. Now, this Creole variety is supposed to store longer than normal hardneck varieties. So we'll have to test that out. I'm not sure, I've never grown it before. I got so many, I'm so happy, I'm so excited. Now what to do with that bed? So I'll probably wait maybe a week before I pull the Russian red out. And the silver skin doesn't look like it's ready yet either, so I don't know if that's got 1 to 2 weeks left. But I will not waste any time with the open bed space that I have. And let's decide what I'm gonna put in that garden bed. Now, first things first, what I do with every garden bed that I've harvested plants from and I need to replant is I add more soil back and some amendments like fertilizer or compost. Unfortunately, the compost I have will not be ready until the fall or the winter, so I can't add any homegrown compost on, but I do need soil because the bed level has receded. So the bed level is pretty low. I like it usually about to here. And I don't have much bagged soil, but these are just leftovers, and I need to go get some more bags, but luckily I don't have to do it yet because I'm not harvesting this whole bed. So I will just throw this in with some organic fertilizer and then we will reseed the whole bed. So I think I'm going to throw a tomato or two in here, as well as some okra seeds. Now, I wanted okra, but I didn't plant any anywhere. And this bed receives a lot of afternoon sun, so it takes the brunt of the western sky. And I think okra would do really well. It's a very heat-loving plant. It loves the sun. But I also have tons of tomato plants left over that I didn't know what to do with, so they're just in pots. And honestly, they're not looking as healthy as they should be, so I need to get them planted out if I'm going to do that. And I don't have to buy a trellis. If I put one tomato plant here and one here, I can just use this arching trellis as their trellis. And on that side, I'll have beans coming up. But I don't need any more beans, so why not use this real estate for tomatoes? So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and I'll plant this out and see how it does. That is a long worm. Look at that worm. He's so long. I'm not too hopeful on the okra germination right now. I have the worst time germinating when it gets to be really hot because the soil doesn't stay moist. And I honestly don't have time to come out here every day, 3 times a day to water down the soil. But we're gonna try it, see how it goes. I do like me some okra. But I'm gonna get this done and I will keep you guys updated on the garlic as well as when I harvest this next garlic. It's gonna be awesome. I will catch you guys on the next one.